Hello, I'm Ivan, and today I'll be taking PTE Core exam mock test on this apuni.com website. I used several websites already, but they are more or less the same in my experience. So let's just use this one and see what happens. It's not the first time I take the mock, so I'll choose the one which I haven't yet passed. I don't know actually if it'll be useful for anyone to see how I'm taking this mock test before the exam, but who knows? I'll see if if it'll have some views, then it's useful. If it's for some reason, if it's useful or interesting for you, just let me know in the comment. I would be very surprised. But I have heard from one guy in the YouTube that doesn't matter what you do in your first videos because no one is going to watch them. So let's check that. Okay, so my last mock exam was 10B. I think I have started from the end, so next exam should be 9B. I'll be recording the full screen. I'll not be giving any comments except the ones I need for for performing the exam. So it will be just like a real exam. Okay, it's loading. Okay. Next. Next, let's see if my mic and audio are working.
Application forms for sharing accommodations must be completed 2 months in advance.
Okay, I've heard that. Now I need to record something. Make sure your headset is on and the microphone is in the downward position near your mouth. Okay, let's check. Make sure your headset is on and the microphone is in the downward position near. Yeah, it looks to be working. So let's start the exam. Just to remind, exam consists of 3 parts. First part is speaking plus writing combined part. Next goes reading and listening. Let's start. Okay, so just small comment. This part is tell about yourself. From what I understand, it's not scored in any way. It's just given here to give like you some time to just to prepare yourself to speak in the new classroom. So basically I can speak anything here. Hello, I'm Ivan. I'm software architect. I live in Brazil currently, and I've been living there for about 3 years, and I want to immigrate to Canada. Actually, I have my job who will do work visa for me, but I want to try to get permanent residency for myself as well. And because of this, I'm taking this PT Core exam. Minerals are important for your body to stay healthy. Your body uses minerals for many different jobs, including keeping your muscles, heart, and brain working properly. Minerals are also important for making enzymes and hormones. Most people get the amount of minerals they need by eating a wide variety of foods. If the intake is not enough, doctors may recommend a mineral supplement. So I'm just reading it one time for myself before recording started, and now it's alive. Minerals are important for your body to start healthy. Your body uses minerals for many different jobs, including keeping your muscles, heart, and brain working properly. Minerals are also important for making enzymes and hormones. Most people get the amount of minerals they need by eating a wide variety of foods. If the intake is not enough, doctors may recommend a mineral supplement. Again, first I'll read just for myself. Occupational therapy helps Occupational therapy helps people of all ages who have physical, sensory, or cognitive problems. It can help them regain independence in all areas of their lives. Occupational therapists help with barriers that affect a person's emotional, social, and physical needs. They also help kids to improve their school performance and aid their daily activities. It also boosts their self-esteem and sense of accomplishment. Occupational therapy helps people of all ages who have physical, sensory, or cognitive problems. It can help them regain independence in all areas of their lives. Occupational therapists help with barriers that affect a person's emotional, social, and physical needs. They also help kids to improve their school performance and aid their daily activities. It also boosts their self-esteem and sense of accomplishment. Throughout history, Stanford medicine has been home to cutting-edge medical advances, including the first successful adult human heart transplant in the United States and the first combined heart-lung transplant in the world. Stanford School of Medicine is the West Coast's oldest medical school and worldwide leader in patient care, education, and innovation. Throughout history, Stanford medicine has become home to cutting-edge medical advances, including the first successful adult human heart transplant in the United States and the first combined heart-lung transplant in the world. Stanford School of Medicine is the West Coast's oldest medical school and worldwide leader in patient care, education, and innovation. A huge shopping revolution is happening in China right now. For instance, e-commerce in China is soaring. It's been growing at twice the speed of the United States, and a lot of the growth is coming from mobile. Every month, 500 million consumers are buying on mobile phones, and to put that into context, that is a total population of the United States, UK, and Germany combined. A huge shopping revolution is happening in China right now. For instance, e-commerce in China is soaring. It's been growing at twice the speed of the United States, and a lot of the growth is coming from mobile. Every month, 500 million consumers are buying on mobile phones. And to put that into context, that is total population of the United States, UK, and Germany combined. Hydropower hydro, Hydropower is one of the renewable energies. In the past, hydropower was used for simple purposes by building a water wheel on a water course and using it to drive a mill or machine. Today, this is how it works. The kinetic energy of the flowing water is converted into the mechanical energy of the turbine, which is converted into the electrical energy or electricity for a short in generator. Hydropower is one of the renewable energies. In the past, hydropower was used for simple purposes by building a water wheel on a water course and using it to drive a mill or machine. Today, this is how it works. The kinetic energy of the flowing water is converted into the mechanical energy of the turbine, which is converted into electrical energy, or electricity for short, in a generator. With our current situation and the state of the global economy, there is a much lower chance of landing a new job anytime soon, and it's unclear when social distancing measures will end or what shape the economy will be in when you're able to return to work. With our current situation and the state of the global economy, there is a much lower chance of landing a new job anytime soon, and it's unclear when social distancing measures will end or what shape the economy will be in when you are able to return to work. For noble and very understandable reasons, we've come to associate maturity and kindness with the capacity not to give up on people, not to give up on people. But this broad and generous truth, generous, generous truth, can be in danger of missing out on an important caveat that health and maturity may also require a subtle capacity to give up on one or two people. For noble and very understandable reasons, we've come to associate maturity and kindness with the capacity not to give up on people. But this broad and generous truth can be in danger of missing out on an important caveat that health and maturity may also require a subtle capacity to give up on one or two people.
It is generally accepted that people are motivated by success.
It is generally accepted that people are motivated by success.
He could not feel motivated when studying mathematics.
He could not feel motivated when studying mathematics.
The government has been committed to housing the homeless people.
The government has been committed to housing the homeless people.
We don't need to have the experience of writing a story.
We don't have the experience of writing the story.
There is no compelling reason for me to believe him.
There, uh, there is no compelling reason for me to believe him.
There was a stream at the bottom of the garden.
There was a stream at the bottom of the garden.
Please bring back all library books by the end of the week.
Please bring back all the library books by the end of the week.
The new manager brings a great wealth of experience to the job.
The new manager brings a great wealth of experience to the job.
It was decided by a unanimous vote that this school should be closed.
It was decided by a unanimous vote that the school should be closed.
Union leaders will meet tomorrow in an attempt to reach a settlement.
Union leaders will meet tomorrow in an attempt to reach a settlement.
The discussion covers business principles and practices in the context of everyday business events.
The discussion covers business principles and practices in the events of daily business events. This image represents a pie chart showing the distribution of international students across several countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Germany, and others. The United States is a clear leader in the distribution of international students with its 45% share. It's followed by the United Kingdom with 20%, and then goes Australia with 15%. Overall, we can see that the United States and the United Kingdom together represent more than half of all international students in the world. This image shows the carbon footprint and the emissions in Canada between 2010 and 2020. It consists of different areas of different shades of green and blue. The highest point is 600. It's in 2020. It represents carbon footprint in million tons, 600 million tons, while the lowest amount is in 2014 for emissions in million tons, and it's only 310. Overall, we can see that there are various carbon and emissions amounts. On this picture we can see two big white swans and their children. There are six small swans here who are floating on the water with their parents. The water could be a lake and it's very greenish because of the reflection of the green grass in the background of this image. Overall, this picture it looks very cinematic and very inspiring and even family-like.
You manage a small local library and have arranged a space within it for community members to study and work. Upon a routine check, you find that the area is cluttered with personal items left behind. You need to address this issue with the community members. What would you say to the community members?
Dear community members, you know that we have a very small library and it's very neat and it's very cozy and comfortable, and we arranged a space for community members to study and work, so it's kind of free co-working. But I have found out that the area is cluttered with personal items which are left behind, so I wanted just to remind everyone that it's our common responsibility to keep that area clean and organized, and only in that case we would be able to enjoy the work and study. So please pay attention to your personal items next time.
During a
During a
team
team
meeting
meeting
on
on
Tuesday,
Tuesday,
your
your supervisor
supervisor
asks
asks if
if
you
you
can
can complete
complete and
and
submit a
submit a
comprehensive
comprehensive project
project
update
update for
for
a
a client
client
by
by
Friday.
Friday.
However,
However,
you're
you're waiting
waiting
on
on
essential
essential feedback
feedback
from
from
a
a
key
key
team
team member
member
who's
who's
out of
out of
the
the office
office until
until
Thursday.
Thursday. What
What
would
would
you
you
say to
say to
your
your
supervisor?
supervisor?
Sure, I understand that it's required to complete this project by Monday, but unfortunately, there is one team member who is actually he plays key role in this project, and in order to complete it we have to wait for his feedback, and unfortunately he is out of the office and will return only on Thursday, so our project has to wait until Thursday. Would it be okay, or you want us to move forward without his feedback? But in that case we will have a risk that we will provide some incorrect information. What do you think?
You book
You
a
book a
spa
spa
day
day
based
based
on
on
glowing
glowing
reviews
reviews
and a
and a wide
wide
range
range
of
of services listed
online.
online.
When
When you
you
arrive,
arrive, half
half
the
the
services
services
are
are
unavailable
unavailable and the
and the
facilities
facilities
are
are
not
not
as
advertised.
advertised.
How
How
to
do you
address
address
this
this with
with
the
the
spa
spa
manager?
manager? Hello, sir. I'm a visitor of the spa, and I booked it because I based my opinion on the multiple reviews and wide range of services listed online. But unfortunately, when I arrived, I just see that half of the services are not available, and a lot of facilities are not as advertised. So I'm not really satisfied with this service, and I wanted to ask you for refund. I want to get money and find some other place to stay. Would you be able please to help me?
What is the full name for UFO?
Unknown object. Unknown flying object.
If you want to have a cup of coffee without milk or cream, what kind of coffee should you order?
Simple coffee. Espresso.
What do we call the place for showing the works of art?
Museum.
What is the opposite of forwards?
Backwards.
What do we call a natural or artificial lake that is used for storing water before it is taken by pipes to houses?
Pool.
What do we call a small bed for a baby that can be pushed gently from side to side?
Small bed. Okay, now it's reading task. Sorry, writing task, and I have to summarize this text. Okay, I'll start without further comments. I'm using, by the way, not my real name, just because when I used my real name and the surname, the scoring engine considered it to be grammatical error. So that's why I have to use the name of Jack London, who was the English author. I'm always forgetting how to write this word properly. I hope it's correct. we still have some time. let's check if there are some grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes. I always do them. There is 2 minutes left. There are 2 minutes left. Okay, here it is. Okay, second part, reading. I have only a doubt about this word, the internet and all the information, but it's either redeemed or associated, but I think associated fit better here. Peers, of course. would answer experiment, but from just my feeling, it should be experimenting with various solutions. So maybe discredit various solution, meaning that they tried and they didn't work. Probably that's the written here. But my gut feeling says that it still might be experimented. But okay, it's just a mock. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, I think experiment is still better here. Maybe we don't have to use preposition. this could be assumed, but it's not written directly. And this, well, I also don't see in the text that they specifically needed more teachers. It's not written, but this is kind of written, and this is as well. Let's try with this one. The pillars certainly were not substantial because on the opposite they are kind of very light, and lighting was not on overhead, it was on the opposite. I believe it was written that it was going from the bottom, from the below rather than above. So I think that those three would do. It's about Russian language. Funny. ethics is defined as principles of conduct or moral behavior. Business ethics is ethics as it relates to the conduct or behavior of the members of a business organization. The need for ethics in business is twofold, because it speaks later about do something. First, it regulates the external constituents of an organization, that is the public, other organizations, and the environment, from being harmed. No, it's not regulates, it prevents from being harmed. Second, it benefits the organization internally by helping to ensure its success. I think all of them are correct, and I have only doubt about this ethics is defined or is intended as principles of conduct or moral behavior. No, probably defined is fine. Lamperitz and Kimberlitz. I first time see those two words. Okay, so answer is just in the first sentence. They have become blocked because of political events. A number of political developments cut Europe's overland trade routes. That's easy one. Okay, so I have completed speaking, writing, and reading, and the last part is listening. Let's do it. I'm trying to write as much words and sentences as possible.
In today's rapidly changing world, it's crucial to recognize the significant contributions of women in leadership roles. Gender diversity in positions of power not only promotes equity but also drives innovation and progress. One compelling argument for the importance of women in leadership is the diversity of perspectives they bring. Women often approach problem solving and decision making differently, adding valuable insights to organizations and fostering creativity. Furthermore, women in leadership serve as role models and mentors for the next generation. Their success inspires young girls and women to pursue their ambitions and break down gender barriers across various fields. As we move forward, it's essential to continue advocating for and promoting women in leadership roles. By embracing gender diversity at all levels of society, we can create more inclusive, equitable, and dynamic environments that benefit us all.
Okay, so my strategy for this type of task is just to write down as much as possible directly here and then use it to make some 20 to 30 words summary. Okay, so I think I captured all of the main points. And now the only problem is that it's 37 words and it should be 30, so I just need to remove something or rewrite. Inclusive environment that fosters innovation and progress. Okay, almost almost there. Women leadership is essential to the inclusive environment that fosters innovation and progress, because women approach problem solving and making decisions differently. Additionally, they become a role model for future generations differently. Women leadership is essential to the inclusive environment that fosters innovation and progress, because women approach problem solving and making decisions differently. And decision making differently. Additionally, they serve as a role model, as a role. Hmm. I have 2 minutes left. Fosters innovation and progress, because women approach problem solving and decision making differently. Moreover, they serve as a role model. Okay, good enough.
Last week, we looked at urban regeneration and some of the consequences of this, one of which was the relocation of people from urban to suburban areas to largely allow them a better standard of living, because housing is cheaper in the suburbs, so they have more disposable income. But they have to commute, and commuters need rapid transport to get them from A to B. So subway construction is, well, it's booming in some parts of the world. It's clearly being seen as the answer to the type of migration that I've just mentioned. It often gets huge public support because, well, if a subway is going to help you have a better lifestyle, then what's there to argue about? Well, quite a lot, actually. For a start, in order to go ahead with a major project of this kind, you need to be absolutely sure that the ground, and more to the point, what lies beneath the ground, can support underground transport. And to address questions like that, engineers have to be really experienced, really knowledgeable about the local area, water levels, land formation, and so on. And those key issues are what I want to focus on today. Passengers don't think about construction. They trust other, better qualified people to do it for them. And governments have to choose these people very carefully.
Certainly in Europe and the West, we tend to think of bread as the staple food in our diet, as many proverbs and sayings such as, "Bread is the staff of life," attest. Yet for the majority of the world's population, the most important staple food is not wheat, but rice, which is the seed of a different type of grass. The earliest evidence we have of rice being cultivated dates back to 8,000 years ago, when rice grains of that period were discovered in a village in China. By around 6,000 years ago, the cultivation of both long grain and short grain rice had become well established in China and had just got going in India. The word rice itself, however, is derived from the Aramaic urutza and came to us by way of Greek and Arabic. In fact, it was the Arabs who introduced rice to their Spanish territories in the 7th century, but it didn't spread to the rest of Europe until much later when, in the 15th century, Spaniards began to cultivate their own short grain variety at Pisa in Italy.
Okay, so Arabs brought it to the Spanish people, and Spanish people brought to the rest of the Europe. So I think those two answers are the correct ones.
A really good illustrative example of the point I want to make is the book Journey Cake Ho by Ruth Sawyer, based on a traditional folk tale. Teachers often read this aloud to their classes, showing the pictures to the children as they do so. They are, of course, using the words of Ruth Sawyer and presenting the story just as the artist has visualized it. But other teachers do it differently. Instead of reading, they tell the story from memory. This gives the children a much richer experience. They can freely use their own imaginations, visualizing the story, the characters, and the scenes in their mind's eye in any way they like. And this is much closer to the way in which folk tales were passed from generation to generation, orally, without any words or pictures to restrict the imagination.
Okay, now let's check pictures, words differently, their own imaginations. I'm only concerned about why it's plural, but I definitely heard plural. Okay, I would never have spoken like that, but okay. Another one.
Even though they usually start to decrease this time of year, the average price for a gallon of gasoline in the United States hit $3.27 this week. That's its highest price in 7 years, and it's almost double what it was last spring when roads and runways were nearly empty because of the COVID pandemic. There are several components to the price of gasoline: the cost of getting it to gas stations, federal and state taxes, the costs of refining it, the profits gas companies make. They all factor in. But the biggest chunk of what we pay, accounting for 43% of the cost of gasoline, is the price of the crude oil gas is made from. And not coincidentally, crude is also at its highest price in 7 years at just over $80 per barrel.
Now I usually double check spelling. Decrease, empty, components, profits, accounting, coincidentally, yeah, I think it's correct.
Many different types of barcode scanning machines exist, but they all work on the same fundamental principles. They all use the intensity of light reflected from a series of black and white stripes to tell a computer what code it is seeing. White stripes reflect light very well, while black stripes reflect hardly any light at all. The barcode scanner shines light sequentially across a barcode, simultaneously detecting and recording the pattern of reflected and non-reflected light. The scanner then translates this pattern into an electrical signal that the computer can understand. All scanners must include computer software to interpret the barcode once it's been entered. This simple principle has transformed the way we are able to manipulate data and the way in which many businesses handle record keeping.
This one was simple for me because of my technical background.
Here in Britain, we have been celebrating a birthday. Not the birthday of a person, however, but the birthday of a railway. 150 years ago, in January 1863, the first underground railway in the world carried its first passengers. It ran for 6 kilometres, from Paddington in London to a place close to the City, which is the name we call London's main business district. The new railway was controversial and unpopular with many people. The men building the railway dug up the streets and knocked down houses and other buildings. They dug a deep trench and put the railway track at the bottom. Then they covered over the new railway and remade the surface of the street. Not surprisingly, the construction work caused chaos in London for many months.
I think it's wrong, certainly, because he says about controversy in the opinions.
Hiroshi Ishiguro, a robot engineer from Osaka University, makes Geminoids, extremely realistic human robots. It's important that they look exactly like real people for Ishiguro to carry out his research. He's interested in understanding philosophical questions such as what is identity and what might happen if a person and their robot double were able to be in two places at the same time. His Geminoid robots have rubber skin and their heads are controlled by motors. These move the head, blink, twitch, shrug the shoulders, and make the robot appear to be breathing during conversations. As well as this, there are motors which are connected to a computer, microphone, and camera. These scan the controller's voice and face movements, then send messages back to the robot, which copies them. The robot's body and skin stop at his chest, though, and he has no robotic legs, so you won't see him
walking around because they were saying about the legs.
Are you going to be more effective and happy as a specialist or as a generalist? Do you find real satisfaction in the precision, order, and system of a clearly laid out job? Or are you one of those people who tend to grow impatient with anything that looks like a routine job? There are a great many careers in which the emphasis is on specialization. You find these careers in engineering and in accounting, in production, in statistical work, and in teaching. But there's an increasing demand for people who are able to take in a great area at a glance. There is, in other words, a demand for people who are capable of seeing the forest rather than the trees, of making overall
Making overall judgments, I think.
All rise. The Twitter Court of Public Opinion is now in session. And the next case on the docket will reach a quick verdict because public opinion solidifies rapidly on Twitter. That's according to a study in the journal Chaos. Researchers collected almost 6 million tweets during a 6-month period. They sorted the tweets for either positive or negative sentiments, then focused on 3 topics related to electronics. At first, opinions fluctuated, with one side gaining a slight advantage. This advantage grew gradually and then quickly leveled off, leaving one opinion in a stable and dominant position, but without an overwhelming consensus. And once public opinion is established, it's unlikely to change. Only those who see a large number of dissenting opinions among the people they follow on Twitter will reconsider and examine the opposing viewpoint. These results may offer a valuable lesson for companies, candidates, and anyone else in the spotlight. If you plan to sway the jury, be sure to make your case early, because once public opinion stabilizes, the jury is dismissed.
Sometimes a bit of bacteria can be just what the doctor ordered. If you prize yogurt for its active cultures, you know what I'm talking about. Now, a new study published in the September 21st online issue of Nature suggests that good bugs might even hold diabetes at bay. Type 1 diabetes is caused by an immune system malfunction. Basically, the immune cells that usually chase after bacteria instead attack the pancreas, wiping out the cells that produce insulin. So researchers decided to see what would happen if they reined in the immune response in mice that are prone to diabetes. As expected, they found that the animals were less likely to develop the disease. But the effect depended entirely on the critters having a normal complement of friendly bacteria in their intestine. Mice that were raised in a totally sterile, germ-free environment were rampant diabetics. But simply treating those mice with a cocktail of bugs found in most mammals' bellies cured the disease. How bacteria in the intestine can stave off diabetes is not yet clear, but the finding could lead to some interesting new treatments. In the meantime, remember that we can't live without the stuff that lives in us.
There have been many changes in technology in recent years.
Okay, I have several doubts. There have been many changes in technology in recent years. I think it might have been contracted. There have been, but I'm not sure. In the technology or in technology, I don't actually remember. But I think if I don't really remember it, I can leave it as is.
We have discussed this issue for a day without any solution.
We have discussed this issue for a day without any solution. I think it was said the same way.
It is important to provide a more interactive learning experience.
Okay, here I have almost no doubts. It is important, so only we'll check spelling. It is important to provide more interactive learning experience. Yeah, it's okay.
Readers are required to observe the rules of the library.
Readers are required to observe the rules of the library. The only thing I'm kind of not confident the usage of a word to observe the rules, but it was said. I have definitely heard it. Readers are required to observe the rules of the library. Okay. Okay, I have completed the test and now I'll be waiting for the results. They'll be in about 1 hour and I think I'll just pause the video and we'll resume it when the results are available. Actually, I just took an exam. It's a bit hard to make mistakes on public when everyone on YouTube can see them, but I decided to experiment because tomorrow is my exam and at the same time I want to publish something to my channel, and I thought that it might be interesting for someone to see, for example, how exam is going on. It could be interesting for me when I just started to prepare and I did everything as I would do during the exam, like with timings, with practice between exercises and so on. So let's wait for the results. Okay, let's check if the exam was already checked with the AI. Mock tests. Okay, it's got checked, I believe. And here is my results. Listening 83, reading 90. Oh, it's the maximum possible score. I'm kind of proud of myself. Speaking 71. To be honest, it's the first time I got that high score in speaking. Before that it was like 60, 58, and it's my personal record on this website. And the writing pretty good as well. So I'm kind of satisfied. I think with that score I could achieve CLB 7 in Canada. It would be enough to get me to the kind of to the pool to select for express entry, but I believe it might be not enough for me to get the needed score. So probably if it were results of a real exam, probably I would need to retake it sometime later. So let's check the problems. I'll read aloud. It could be better, but it's quite okay, I think. 86, 82, 82. Repeat sentence is generally a bit worse for me. Like 70. What else? 66. 61. 56. Not very good. 47. Wow, I got 71 in the graph. Actually, I think it's the first time in the task I got that score.
This image
Usually I had a very bad score for pronunciation and fluency. I'm surprised. And here 48. Yeah, that's my usual score for this type of task. As you see, fluency 25 and pronunciation 39. I wonder how you could understand me at all with such pronunciation and fluency scores. And what else? Okay, 48 as well. For some reason, I don't have a very good score.
Dear community,
in response to situation, I got a good content score, but fluency and pronunciation again kind of weak. Okay. What was the correct answer? Black coffee? Why not espresso? Gallery? Why not museum? What do we call the place for showing the works of art? Why the works of the art could not be shown in the museum? Well, I don't agree. Reservoir. Okay, it sounds a bit French for me. I did not remember that word. Cradle. Also did not remember, but I hope I'll remember it for the real exam. Okay, so that's good enough. And good luck for me for tomorrow to take the real exam. Once I get real exam and know my score, I'll share it. Stay with me. Bye.